Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So this past weekend, Mauricio Lara knocked out Leigh to win the WBA featherweight title. Now, the stoppage of this fight has caused some debate online, I would say. In fact, I'm quite surprised I'm in the minority on this one, from what I've been seeing at least. The narrative is that Ben Davison, Leigh Wood's trainer, threw in the towel at the right time. That is the prevailing narrative, I would say. Despite immediately after the fight, many in boxing were saying that Ben Davison jumped the gun and he threw in the towel too early, such as Tony Bellew. He's now ran his comments back, saying that Ben Davison did the right thing. Carl Froch said similar, should have been let to go on, let to carry on. But once again, he's now said he's spoken to Leigh Wood, who according to him, said that it was the right decision. I mean, maybe that is the case, maybe he said that, but again, that could be just Leigh Wood saving face for Ben Davison. Immediately after the fight, he looked devastated, you know? So I'm not convinced, despite what's been said, I'm not convinced that Leigh Wood is happy or was happy that the fight was waved off like it was, or that the towel was thrown in. And despite the narrative online that Ben Davison made the right decision, I still feel the same as I initially did. I felt Ben Davison jumped the gun here. I felt he threw in the towel too early. And, you know, quite frankly, I think Ben Davison is too emotional in these crunch situations. I really do. And now we've seen some history of this when it comes to Ben Davison. But again, just running over the stoppage again, Leigh Wood was dropped towards the end of round 7. And obviously, Leigh Wood gets up, and once the referee has conducted his count, there was around, 12 seconds left on the clock to see out the round. The referee does his count, asks Leigh Wood, raise your hands, raise your gloves, which Leigh Wood does straight away. And it looks like the referee was going to allow it to continue. That's what it looked like to me. Bear in mind, the referee would have then had to send Mauricio Lara back to his neutral corner because Lara was way too close. That in itself is going to eat up another 2 or 3 seconds. Then they would resume in the centre of the ring, maybe taking another second or 2. By the time this fight was resumed, more than likely there would have been, 4 or 5 seconds left. Of course Leigh Wood was hurt, no doubt. He was shaky, no doubt. And maybe Lara could have got rid of him in that time. But it gives Leigh Wood the opportunity to go back to his corner, and then Ben Davison can have a real look at him. He can assess in that minute how Leigh Wood is recovering, whether he looks right, and he can make his decision based on that, not based on split-second emotions like he did, in my opinion. Again, this was a world title fight in Leigh Wood's hometown. This was a big occasion, and for me to wave it off the way he did was too premature. I think he jumped the gun. And bear in mind, if you look at Ben Davison, you look at his history. Let's go back to the Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury 1 fight. Listen to what take a look or take a listen to what Freddie Roach said about Ben Davison after Tyson Fury got dropped in that 3rd round. According to Freddie Roach, Tyson Fury's team had to hold him back from entering the ring, which would have led to the fight being waved off or Tyson Fury being disqualified. So, if Ben Davison had more free reign in that corner, that fight, Deontay Wilder would have won that fight. And we saw how that fight then played out. I believe you give a fighter every opportunity to continue. I know that sounds harsh, I know that sounds brutal, but that is the reality of boxing. I've seen so much virtue signalling online, talking about fighter safety. You must want to see Leigh Wood go out on a stretcher. If he took one more punch, he could have died, or been seriously injured. Well, you don't know that. This is boxing, this is what the fighters sign up for, that is the reality. And quite frankly, if you don't like that, maybe boxing is the wrong sport for you. I mean, all I've seen on Twitter is fight fans virtue signal again. That's all I've seen. If you wanted this fight to continue, you wanted to see Leigh Wood get badly hurt. That would have been a disaster if you let this fight continue. That's what I've seen on Twitter. Well, again, you don't know that. I mean, the way some people have been talking, you would think they have fucking time machines. I mean, if you would be so kind, let me know the lottery numbers next week. That would be great. You know, your crystal ball is wasted on boxing. Christ, let me know the lottery numbers. I mean, is this what boxing has become? Ultra soft, ultra sanitized, safety first. Is that what boxing's become? Seriously. I mean, we've seen so many fighters in similar situations, or worse situations, and they come through the storm and they turn it around. Bear in mind, on the scorecards, Leigh Wood was up in this fight. So again, to me, this fight was ended too early. Once the towel was thrown in, I saw how Leigh Wood moved to his corner. Was he a little unsteady? Yeah, but people acted like the guy was doing the stanky leg. He clearly wasn't. Immediately in the post-fight interview, looked okay, sounded okay. Too early. I'm sorry, this stoppage was too early. And again, one thing I'll say is this: the whole virtue signalling has to stop. It has to stop. Because again, this is the reality. If you are that concerned, and if you are that worried, like you say you are, about a fighter potentially being hurt, maimed, killed, then you wouldn't support such a blood sport. That's the reality. You and I know the worst case outcome for a boxing match. That is death or brain damage, right? Yet, despite that, we still choose to continue supporting this sport. If you really cared that much, you wouldn't support such a blood sport, you know? Just, stop the virtue signalling. I mean, you might as well just end up in Starbucks, drinking a soy latte, complaining about such blood sports. Oh, they should be banned. It's cruel. It's taking advantage of working class people. That's how some of you guys are moving right now. This is boxing at the end of the day. It's boxing. It's a brutal sport. Of course, certain things should be implemented to safeguard fighters. The referee didn't seem to think Leigh Wood was out of it. The referee looked like he was going to let the fight continue. So yeah, for me, this fight was stopped too early. The way I see people describe this knockdown or stoppage, I don't see it. I mean, I see people suggest that Leigh Wood was totally out of it. He didn't have control of his legs. Yes, he was shaky, but having no control whatsoever is nonsense. It's plain to see. I mean, the way he moved after the knockdown was similar to how Carl Froch moved after the first George Groves fight when he got dropped in round 1. So you're saying that fight should have been stopped as well? I mean, look at the knockdowns. Look at how they get up. It's extremely similar. Boxing is becoming too soft, man. I'm sorry. Boxing is becoming too soft, too sanitized. That's how I see it. Again, if you're asking me who would have went on to win, I think Lara. I think Lara would have got the job done. But unlike a lot of these guys on Twitter, I don't have a time machine. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know that. All I could see was that Leigh Wood was hurt. He was wobbly. I'm not disputing that. But was he hurt badly enough to throw in the towel with 10 seconds or so remaining? I appreciate I'm in the minority here, but I would suggest that you guys watch it again, watch it more carefully. See what you think. Let me know what you think. Share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Delboy. Peace. Also, actually, P.S. One more thing. On the post-fight analysis for this fight, I heard the DAZN not commentary team, but the analyst team they was talking about this decision to stop the fight, and according to DAZN, I think it was Laura Woods who raised this point. She was I don't know who it was. I would need to watch it again, but they was basically saying that there was a feeling that the corner, led by Ben Davison, didn't have a clue how much time was left in the round. By the way, is that not part of a corner's job? You know, to be aware of where the round is at, how long is left, that sort of thing. Is that not part of a corner's job? Once again, I mean, Ben Davison, look at how this guy conducts himself in the corner when his fighters are fighting. Just look at him, leaning over the ropes, sometimes almost leaning in the ring, by the way, which is illegal, screaming and shouting his instructions in his panicked voice. The guy is far too emotionally involved in these fights, and he loses track of time, obviously. You know, if you're a coach and you're heading a corner, you should know exactly when it is in a round, or roughly, at least. You should have a gauge of where the round is at in regards to time. But Ben Davison, too emotionally involved, obviously he lost track of time. You know? Again, if it was down to Ben Davison, Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 1, Fury loses that fight. Again, ask Mark Tibbs what he thinks of Ben Davison. Look at how he handled that Billy Joe Saunders situation in the Canelo fight. For me, Ben Davison needs to buck up his ideas, grow up, or fuck off. Simple as that. Simple as that. Share your thoughts below. Peace.